Welcome to the fog.
Hello everyone. In this video, I will show you my own interpretation of endless terrain generation, which based on Perlin noise. Perlin noise is a popular procedural generation algorithm invented by Ken Perlin. It can be used to generate things like textures and terrain procedurally, meaning without them being manually made. The algorithm can have one or more dimensions, which is basically the number of inputs it gets. In this case, I use 2D because it's easier to visualize and apply to a tilemap. The Unity has a math function that generates 2D Perlin noise as a pseudo-random pattern of float values generated across a 2D plane. The noise does not contain a completely random value at each point but rather consists of waves whose values gradually increase and decrease across the pattern. Any point in the plane can be sampled by passing the appropriate x and y coordinates. The same coordinates will always return the same sample value, but the plane is essentially infinite, so it is easy to avoid repetition by choosing a random area to sample from. The portion of a plane that will be projected onto the tile map is determined by the coordinates of the camera. The sprite color of a tile on the tile map is set according to the value of the point of the generated plane by passing the appropriate x and y coordinates. Okay, here we go. Here I create a new 2D project in Unity Hub. Open an empty project in Unity. Let's add some new folders to project assets. I create a new folder called Sprites for the tile sprite. I create a folder called Scripts. It's here I will place the project script. Also, I create a folder called Tiles. Here I will place the tile of the tile map. Now I import to the sprites folder the square sprite of white color that I created earlier. In the inspector window, I need to set the pixel per unity value of the sprite to 40. In the sprite editor, I can see that the sprite size is 40 by 40 pixels. I create a new tilemap object in the hierarchy window and duplicate it. Here I create a new tile called Sprite and place it in the Tiles folder. In the inspector window, I attach to sprite of tile the square sprite of white color the size is 40 by 40 pixels that is created earlier. Here, in the hierarchy window, I create a new empty game object and it named as main object. Both tile maps must be deactivated in the inspector window. I create a new C# script called generate. It places in a folder called scripts that was created earlier. So now project assets contain scenes folder with the scene. Sprites folder which contains the square sprite of white color, the size is 40 by 40 pixels. Tiles folder for tilemap style. And scripts folder which contains C# script that implements the endless terrain generation. Okay, now it's time to write C# code. Open the generate script in Visual Studio. Here erase all methods were created by IDE at default. Here I create a static class called noise generator. It contains one static method to generate 2D Perlin noise. Parameters of noise generated are passed to the method. These are the width and height of the generated plane, the random seed, the scale, the number of octaves, the persistence, the lacunarity, and the noise plane offset. This is where the 2D array is initialized. Instantiate random number generator. Here is defined noise parameters for each octave. I need to check if the scale value is negative to set the scale as positive. The generation parameters for each octave are defined. Here I call unity's function to generation Perlin noise value. clamps noise value between 0 and 1 and return value. Here the method completes its work and returns a two-dimensional array with noise values of float type. I have thus created a static class with one static method that generates a plane with Perlin noise values. Next, I will write an implementation of the main program class. The class name is generate the same as the script name. First I declare some variables. The private variable name tile. The variable type is not set correctly. It must be a type of tile. I will correct this mistake later. Here I declare an array of tile maps. It will contain two tile maps that will change when they are displayed. The serialize field attribute is needed when I want the variable to show up in the Unity editor. Here is the index of tile map in this array. Next, I declare some variables that set up camera parameters such as movement, speed, position, and direction. Here I declare variables and set up the parameters of noise by default. The serialize field attribute makes these parameters available in Unity editor. Here I create a structure of the color map and declare the list of these structures. The list defines a terrain color configuration. Here I set noise dimension. The method contains the code that makes tile map initialization based on the noise. Initializing a noise array. PosCam variable stores camera position. Here I call the generate noise method and store noise values to the array. Here the cycle goes through the noise values and sets the color of each tile of tile map based on the configuration of structures of the color map. Also, I need to activate the tile map to show it in the scene. The awake method is called when the script instance is being loaded. Awake is used to initialize any variables or program state before the program starts. Here I add the default structure to the color map list if it is empty. Also, I call the tilemap init method that runs tilemap initialization. Here I run a coroutine that generates a tilemap. To optimize program execution, the generate tilemap coroutine alternately generates maps based on Perlin noise and displays them. Here also performs transform position of the tilemap to the camera position. Here the coroutine is interrupted. It will be continued when the frame will be updated. At the end, I create an update method implementation. The update is called every frame. Here I change the direction of camera movement depending on the button pressed. Button W to up direction, S to down, A to left, and D to right. Generate tilemap coroutine runs when the camera moves to the set distance. That's the script. OK. Now I open Unity Editor. I drag and drop generate script to main object in the inspector. I attach tile name sprite from the tiles folder to the tile field of main object in inspector. Here I set the size of the tilemap array to 2. For the field of the first element of the tilemap array, I select the first tilemap. The second tilemap goes to the field of the second element of the array. Next, I set up the terrain color configuration. First I set the size of the list of color map structures. It's 8. Then I set for each structure the value of height and color that corresponds to height. I attach the main camera of the scene to the cam field in inspector. And finally, I need to set the size of the main camera to 30. Here I set up the movement speed of the camera and make some changes to the configuration of noise. Now I can hit play to see how it works. Here I change of noise configuration and start the program again. And again I change the noise configuration. Pretty good. Hope you like this tutorial. Thank you for watching and see you next time.